Hello, my name is Eric Allen. I'm the Director of Student Services for LaRue County Schools. I'm here today with our principal of LaRue County Middle School, Christina Boone, and our LaRue County attorney, Mr. Kyle Williamson. We're here to talk to you today about a new program that we're implementing at the middle school level this year called the Truancy Diversion Program. The Truancy Diversion Program is a program that's sponsored by the Administrative Office of the Courts. It's used in many school districts statewide, and we like it because there's other levels of support that we get other than just the school support, as we'll learn about from Mr. Williamson. So we're going to just talk about the program briefly so you will be informed of it. But we'd like to talk about why, some things we've seen in attendance in the last few years, and why attendance is important, and why we're looking at ways of improving it. So, Kyle, what have you seen at the government level as far as what attendance has looked like?
Well, truancy is something that we handle both through court as well as through our CDW process. Formal charges being brought to court both in the morning district court, criminal court, as well as in the afternoon juvenile court. We also have a CDW process which requires both parents and students to meet with our court-designated worker to work through a diversion program before formally coming to court. The Truancy Diversion Program that LaRue County Middle School is going to institute now, I think will be an opportunity for both students as well as parents to get in front of this problem before it gets to the point of needing to come to court or needing to meet with a CDW. It really is another opportunity for students and parents to help improve attendance and improve academics overall at the middle school.
Yeah, I think that's a really important factor. We can never put out enough supports out there, and I think it's also another way to inform parents, because I think a lot of times there is a communication barrier and information barrier up with a lot of kids that go through truancy, as far as maybe the parents weren't getting the information that they needed and the support that they needed soon enough that it could have been avoided, or done something. They could have done something about it sooner. Christina, talk about why do we do this? Why is attendance so important for our students?
Well, you can't put a value, obviously, on a missed day of school. We talk about it in terms of what they miss in instruction, but I mean, more than anything, we miss when our students aren't there, because you can't put a value on a bond that a teacher builds with the student, what they build amongst their peer community that they build. They miss a lot more than just instruction, and you can't replace that. They could do the homework later, they could come in for ESS services, but we cannot mimic the kinds of activities and opportunities that we provide for them in a later setting the way we could if a student was there.
Yeah, that's perfect. So the Truancy Diversion Program, how it's going to work is the compulsory attendance laws in the state of Kentucky are, once a student reaches 3 unexcused absences, they are considered truant by the state of Kentucky. Once that student reaches 6 unexcused absences, they are considered habitual truants in the state of Kentucky. Once you are considered an habitual truant, charges can be brought. So the TDP program is a 2-phase program. There's a pre-complaint phase for when that student gets to truancy, which is 3 unexcused absence. Then there's a phase 2, which is the actual truancy charges, and the program at school is going to be ramped up to more frequent and a little more aggressive support for that student. So in the phase 1, the pre-complaint phase of the program, once that student gets to 3 unexcused absences, they're going to get a letter from our county attorney's office. That letter from the county attorney's office is going to give those parents and that student the information that they will need and a date and time to come to the school for a workshop, a phase 1 meeting, so to speak, where they will meet individually with either myself, Ms. Boone, Mr. Williamson, or any other member of our TDP team to discuss what's going on, see if there's any supports that we could provide to make sure that that student does not reach the phase 2 level of the program. Mr. Williamson, talk a little bit about, from your perspective, how this program we're going to keep kids out of court, keep kids out of the fair team. That's kind of what our main objective with this is, as well as improving attendance in the schools.
Right. Well, I think everybody at this table, and I hope everybody at home watching, can agree that students belong in the classroom, not in the courtroom.
Right.
And that's our number one goal. One of the things I think this program will help with is bridging the gap. You talked about communication issues, all the issues that may underlie truancy itself. Instituting this program will give us an opportunity to meet with students, to meet with parents, to let them know several things. Number one, to let them know what the penalties are for missing school for truancy. To let them know if this continues to go, here's what we'll have to do. We'll have to bring you to court. You will have to appear in court. You'll have to go meet with the CDW and the consequences behind that. But the other thing from our perspective, I feel like this program will give us an opportunity to identify issues that we may be able to help with. Someone having transportation issues to get to school, someone having trouble getting up out of bed at a certain time, or someone that has to get their siblings ready for school. I think it will give us some insights into the students' end of it as well as the parents' end, so that maybe we can try to work together to make sure that we are keeping kids in the classroom and not in the courtroom. It will give us an opportunity to try to identify and solve the problem before we have to bring a formal criminal charge, which is something that none of us want.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm excited about it because I feel like from the school's perspective and the school district's perspective, having you on board and working with us, everybody, it's been said a long time, it takes a village, Sure. We're just making our village bigger and, providing those supports and getting more people on board to recognize what's going on as well as try to help it. So phase 2 of the program, once that student gets to the second phase and reaches the amount of unexcused absences that they are charged with truancy, they're gonna start coming in every 2 weeks at least to school to meet with their TDP team and just have a more aggressive intervention, as well as go to the CDW's office and to complete a diversion program for them, as well as check in at school. Something, Ms. Boone, that I'm excited about this is we, as a district and statewide, chronic absenteeism has really been on the rise. For those of you that don't know, chronic absenteeism is when a student is absent 10% or more of the days of the school year. And that is all absences. That's excused, unexcused. Anytime a student is not at school, that goes toward their chronic absenteeism. Once they reach 10%, they're considered a chronic absentee. And that's a year-long running thing. So if you're 10 days into the school year and you've missed one day, you're considered a chronic absentee. So you can get out of that pretty easy at that point, but once you get deeper and deeper into the year, it becomes harder. But I think this program will fight that and help us out a lot with those numbers as well.
I think this whole program really places some value, like how much we value attendance.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I can't speak to enough is, our whole school and our structure is set around identifying and working with individualized students. So teachers meet once a week in PLCs, and they look at their students and they plan activities for them. They look at instructional activities, reward activities, and things like that. And one thing that I often hear is, I want to do these things with this type of student or this student in particular, but they're not here.
Right.
And we miss that opportunity. And then on Fridays during early release, we go through students. I mean, every student usually is discussed. And one thing that we often hear is, well, even if they're absent and they have a note, they're still not here to do some of these things with us. We still see academic gaps. We still see sometimes problems with peers arise because they're not here to build those relationships with peers. And so we can't say enough, your student being with us matters, because the attendance matters whether they're excused or not. Now, of course, there's going to be things that happen, and you have the flu, and that takes you out for long periods of time. But I think if students realize how intentional we are in planning and wanting them to be there, they will show up. And I think this provides that extra layer of support, so that even families recognize, wow, they really are intentional about wanting us to be there. Maybe we can help bridge some of those barriers to make sure that happens.
Just to that point about bridging the barrier there, one of the things that I think I have seen throughout the court system is, when we get a truancy case, it comes to us as this charge and a child's name, but we know very little. We have very little, if any, background on that child, other than they are truant from school, here's how many days they have missed, this is a problem. I think the Truancy Diversion program will give us an opportunity to individualize and know that kid before we get to that spot,
Mm-hmm.
and know what the pitfalls of this case are, to know what this child might particularly need to be supported to come to school, what particular issues they are facing, either at home or out in the world or out at school, that may be causing them to be absent or truant, and give us an idea to more effectively handle the cases going forward.
Outstanding.
I couldn't agree more.
That sounded great. So there you have it. That's our new program that we're coming in with to fight truancy at the middle school. If you have any questions, give us a call or shoot us an email. Any of us will be happy to talk to you, answer any questions you may have. Remember, we care about our students. We want them all in school all the time. Good attendance is the first step to a successful adult, is kind of the way I feel about it, and I think I can speak for everybody else. So, thank you very much.